deaths of hundreds of thousands of Americans facing their fellow countrymen on the fields of battle dot the eastern United States, but none of the hundreds of battlefields are so infamous as to be known as the bloodiest battle in American history. All that blood and violence has seeped into the ground, leaving behind a stain of paranormal history in the hills and forests of Gettysburg, Pennsylvania.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Our Haunted Nostalgia. This is a continuation of the Civil War, because right now we're going to dive into Gettysburg. Easily the most infamous battlefield in all of the Civil War, in all of America, realistically. I can't think of another singular place.
Arguably Pearl Harbor, sort of.
Yeah, but that's Hawaii. That's not really America.
It's not a battlefield. It's a battle sea, battle float. I don't know.
It's also not much of a battle. We kind of
just a surprise attack.
Remember that battle, 9/11?
Jesus.
Yeah, it's been 20 years.
How long do you think it's going to take before they're like, Ground Zero is super haunted? Like, when is it socially acceptable to refer to like a mass death tragedy as like, here's their ghosts?
I give it 20 more years before we've got whatever the equivalence of TikTokers is.
I think I've brought this up to you guys privately, but I think this should be known on a wider scale unless somebody steals my idea, then I'll be really mad. Do you guys know what Hogan's Heroes are?
Let me say it into a podcast microphone.
That's what I'm saying. I'll find you if you steal this. Copyright pending.
You hear that, Trevor? We're coming for you.
This is relevant, by the way. So there was a classic show that came out in the 60s about World War II soldiers in a prisoner of war camp. It wasn't like Auschwitz, but it was very clearly a Nazi prisoner of war camp.
Nazi coded.
No, it was
the Nazis.
It wasn't coded. It was
it was just literally a Nazi camp.
These are Nazis. Yeah.
Okay.
It was not subtle. But it was a comedy. It was a sitcom about World War II soldiers foiling the Nazi plan.
That's funny.
So they like purposely stayed in the camp, and the Nazis were portrayed as like
idiots,
goofy, like. There's that one. There was like a really fat, goofy Nazi that was like, he would walk in on that prisoners doing something they shouldn't. He'd be like, I hear nothing, I see nothing. That was like his big thing. But it was 20 years after World War II. So what I'm saying is it's been about 20 years after 9/11.
Well, I've seen, I don't know if you've seen this meme passing around on your, sorry. Do you have
I just wanted to say, since it's been 20 years since 9/11, how long until we can make a sitcom about the passengers
9/11?
of the flights foiling Al-Qaeda?
So how funny would it be if somebody did just make a sitcom and it was just set in an inconspicuous office setting, and you get through 12 episodes of season 1 before the camera pans down and on the calendar is just like, September 11th.
We've talked about that. That happened in a movie once.
Oh, did it?
There was
stars Robert Pattinson.
Yes, there was a Robert Pattinson. I think it was a rom-com.
It's called Remember Me.
Yes. And the entire movie has absolutely nothing to do with 9/11. And the final shot as like, they're all happy, they're going to get together. It starts to pan out, and you see he's
in the Twin Towers.
He's in the Twin Towers, and he's like, I'll see you tomorrow, September 12th, 2001. I'm exaggerating, but it's not.
And then he looks off into the vista, and he's like, that plane's pretty low, isn't it, Dad?
There must be an air show happening.
Cut to credits.
That's a legit movie. So anyway, when are we going to make Hogan's Heroes out of 9/11 is what I'm saying.
Well, he turned around, did you ever see the deleted scene?
No.
Where he's like, thought experiment, Dad. Do you think jet fuel would melt the steel beams of this building?
No, son. The only thing that could do that is our president. At this time, President George W. Bush.
Fade to black. Actually, no. Instead of fade to black, both look directly into the camera. Then fade to black.
One of the things I have been seeing popping up on my For You pages, it's a meme that it's been happening for the past couple of months, but I find it particularly funny. It's always like, I'll use skateboarders as an example. It's like, skateboarders in 2025. Dude, you're still wearing Vans? What are you, a fucking grandpa? Skateboarders in 2015. Bro, I just got my Converse off the walls or whatever the fuck.
They hit what?
Yeah, 2000 skateboarders in 2000 and what? Oh my God, another plane just hit.
I do.
Like those me.
I've seen those.
Because I didn't realize the joke the first couple of times. Now I'm always excited when it pops up.
Well, I also love the anti-version of that, where once that meme got popular enough, it would be somebody in 2001 and you think it's going to be a they hit the towers joke, but then it's like, dude, Shrek 2 just came out.
I got one. I got that one from because I'm a Dragon Ball fan. It was that. It's like Dragon Ball fans in 2025. Goku just went Super Saiyan 4.
Yeah.
Dragon Ball fans in 2001. Goku just went Super Saiyan 4.
Yeah. So when is it okay to turn Akira Toriyama into a ghost?
10 years.
Okay.
Like you gotta. Oh, it's Japan. Probably more 20. They respect their dead a little bit more than us.
That's fair. Yeah, well, I guess, that is true.
Over here, it's like a 5-year period before you can start making like Betty White died.
Before you make like a movie turning her into a demon, a la
Bathsheba.
Yeah.
The statute of limitations for being turned into a demon is about 150 years.
Yeah. When do my personal IP rights, like, am I copyrighted? Can Disney make a movie about me if I die in a goofy way?
I'm sure they'd have to deal with your family estate if
That's
they wanted
fair.
to deal with that. In the context of the Civil War and Gettysburg, I'm sure most of us have probably heard about like what causes a ghost, poltergeist, someone gets murdered in a specific spot. And in most situations, if you talk to somebody who believes in this stuff, they'll say that it takes an intense amount of emotional energy lingering after a traumatic event to cause something like a haunting. Right? So how much more traumatic can you get than the bloodiest battle in all of American history? Right? I mean, if you're going to say somewhere is haunted, you pick like the suicide forest in Japan, Chernobyl, and like Gettysburg.
I'm surprised nobody's ever done anything with Jim Jones, the Jonestown Massacre. It was like 900 dead people.
Like you think like people cover that as a conspiracy? People should start covering it as like ghost
Do people
hauntings?
cover it as a conspiracy? I thought
100%,
people
yeah.
pretty much take it at face value. I've never heard of it.
Well, I mean, it will.
Unless like Bigfoot did it.
I do have one other thing for the podcast and for the record. I think if we did something on Roanoke, that could be.
Oh,
that would be a
yes.
good
Just
one.
saying. Just throwing it out there for the audience to decide.
Roanoke is a legitimately fascinating mystery. And that one, I would say, lands in the conspiracy bucket where it's just like...
Well, because it's unsolved,
It's-
right?
it's-
Well, that to
unsolved
me
and
sounds a lot
something.
better than fucking 411.
I still gotta
that-
watch those movies.
That fucking shit was hilarious.
I love 411 because you listen to the stories and it's the way they're delivered is what makes people fear them because they're like, his body was never recovered, and it's like, it's like his body was never recovered in the national park. Really? In the 8 million square miles of Yosemite, they didn't find a 5-foot tall guy.
The place that has bears.
In Gettysburg, over the course of 3 days, 50,000 soldiers were killed on the field of battle. You're literally, as a general, as a leader, sending your men into the slaughter. After day 1, you know how things are going to go down, but you literally cannot afford to not send men into this meat grinder, or else Gettysburg was the turning point for the Civil War. The Confederacy might have won. The Union fielded 93,000 soldiers and lost about 23,000. The Confederates fielded about 71,000 and lost 28,000. So the Confederate soldiers were not only outnumbered, but they took more casualties because of it. So it's no wonder such traumatic moments and events would lead to like a confluence of the normal and paranormal, with dozens of locations across the city claiming to house lingering spirits and ancient hauntings of soldiers past. Adam, I know you have a mild history with Gettysburg, not the Civil War. Do you have any stories in particular that you could recall from your childhood?
We would try to go ghost hunting, but when I was very young, I was very scared. I did not fuck with horror stuff at all. Goosebumps used to give me nightmares.
Well, I'm in the same boat. When I was young, this kind of stuff scared me a lot. So this podcast is like a small form of therapy as I just get to enjoy all of these old haunting stuff. Like I remember, if you guys watched this when you were children, before the History Channel became like Ancient Aliens
Ghosts
and
and
Pawn
Aliens,
Stars, they used to actually show stuff. Like I remember learning about the Civil War in like my living room before school because I would just be like, oh, they're just talking about like the day-to-day lives of a regiment of Civil War soldiers or whatever, and they'd get to ghosts and they would show like, here's a woman supposedly captured the silhouette of a ghost standing against this rock, and they'd show the picture, and when the picture popped up on screen, I'd see like a black smudge, and 10-year-old Elias was like like deep breath, cold sweat, goosebumps. I have to turn the TV off because the ghost now knows.
It knows me.
It knows me.
It looked into my soul.
And I have to be worried about it. And now I'm an adult and I go, what the... God damn it.
There's obviously a ton of, ghost tours and books.
A lot of the sources for this episode came from various ghost tour sites.
We would go to various stores and they'd have ghost photography on display, which is the traditional, the white orbs that would show up in the corners of things. I do know once we went to the college campus and it was me and my brother who were very young, my mom and my cousin. And my mom and my brother went to, go ghost searching. Me and my cousin stayed in the car. They were gone for like maybe 15 or 20 minutes, and then they came back running and screaming, but we had locked the doors so that the ghosts couldn't come in. And so my, like 8-year-old brother, maybe even younger, was like, ah! Like he could be a ghost. I don't know.
I like the context of the dock door was going to keep the ghosts out in the
Yeah, of
same
course.
way, in the same way that your blanket over your head.
Yeah,
at night.
I'm safe under the covers. Exactly, kid logic. I do know we did actually speak to some workers at the college that same night, actually, where they allegedly had a story where they only take the stairs now because there was a time they were trying to use the elevators in one of the buildings. I don't remember what. Yeah, I know, right? Went down to the basement floor, which they didn't press that button, and when the door opened, it was a hospital.
I have this story.
Do you really?
Yes, it's in this script.
We met those women.
That's awesome.
And it was so they went down to the basement floor and it opened up to the field hospital and the doctors were like beckoning them and started approaching the
What were they
elevator.
wearing?
I don't fucking
Were they
know.
burning? Were they hurt?
What, the women?
Yeah, from their flaming pants.
I get where you're going. Liar, pants on fire.
I think he was just talking about human combustion.
That's
another
completely unrelated.
That's another episode we have to cover, dude.
Oh, that would be a cool one.
Yeah.
What?
Spontaneous human combustion. Dude, that shit happens.
Yeah.
That's crazy that it just, I like that
You
it
just
happens
burst into flames.
and scientists just
Wait,
kind of
what?
go.
That actually
That's
happened.
Yeah.
It's an anomaly
Yeah.
thing, yeah.
And scientists just kind of go like,
Sometimes people just do that.
One
like
of the-
JFK's head.
It just does that
did
sometimes.
Yeah. But no, yeah, we did meet those women who now they take the stairs. They went to the basement. They saw the doctor. Oh, he got close to the door. Closed them. But, yeah.
But so you brought up like the concept of orbs earlier, and
Yeah.
Eddie, you asked about intelligent hauntings. I think Adam, you asked about intelligent hauntings, and
Yeah.
Eddie actually explained it. But there are a couple of various classifications
Right.
for hauntings, and we're going to talk about a couple of them as I explain some of the notable locations. Believe it or not, that story at the beginning of the Civil War episode, Jenny Wade, is actually one of the notable haunted locations in Gettysburg, as the Jenny Wade house, as it's known now.
as the one civilian death.
As the one civilian death. And the hauntings are classified as intelligent because for some reason the house seems to react to people being in it with unexplained movement, unanswered questions coming from nowhere, fearful moaning coming from the various spirits of the house.
Fearful moaning?
Yeah. I don't know. Like I imagine that classic ghost like but like a woman. And this would be considered an intelligent haunting because it interacts with people. Surprisingly, an intelligent haunting is different than a poltergeist.
Like 2 + 2, and he goes, oh.
Thanks, poltergeist.
Yeah, exactly.
Poltergeist. That's great. This is considered an intelligent haunting because
Poltergeist is an unintelligent
well,
haunting?
no, a poltergeist.
Poltergeist is dumb as rocks.
No, a poltergeist. No, but a poltergeist.
It's a really stupid ghost.
They're always trying to move the furniture for some dumb reason.
They always make a mess after
Yeah.
I clean up the floor. And it's locked.
but only when you're not looking, which is
Yeah.
the annoying part.
Yeah. So they try not to interact
They
with
try
you?
to write messages on the walls. They're never more than 4 letters long. Like
They
run,
have spelling errors.
like run hell.
But it's just run has 2 N's.
yeah, it's a bunch of illiterate ghosts.
It says red rum, and you go,
That idiot.
the fuck?
This is why we need to invest in educating our ghosts because they're
Right.
our
That's
future.
what the real.
They're the future.
Well, once humanity,
here forever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was like, once humanity gets wiped out, they're the only things that are going to stop the aliens.
I'm looking forward to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know what they
hand to
say?
Dan.
You plant a seed for the children's trees shaded.
To grandfather in the shade 10 years ago.
Yeah. Long
That's
story short,
the
let's
best
get,
time.
Let's
That's-
get Casper a TI-83 calculator, America.
That's why I'm going to kill myself so I can lend my forces to the ghost army. And I think it's a noble
I think if you
cause.
kill
you're
yourself-
gonna volunteer. So wait, let's get this straight. So Elias, a coastal elite, is deciding that he's going to do something for the good of the world, which he's going to go
Forever.
to an inner city school filled with ghosts. He's going to try to help these kids. This is like Freedom Riders, but with ghosts. We're going to call this Ghost Riders. And you're really going to empower these young ghosts.
I thought you were going to lean more into the fact that he said he's fighting the aliens as a ghost. So I thought you were going to say like Elias, who hasn't signed up for any real military experience, will kill himself to fight a supernatural war.
What are they gonna do?
It's
probe
going
me?
to be like putting real Elias in the Civil War with a time machine. You're going to be just as useful.
ill-equipped.
Just being a ghost doesn't make you any better at being
He
a
wakes
soldier.
up, he's like fucking Doom guy.
Rip and tear.
Hell yeah.
You brought it up in the Civil War episode, Adam, with Gettysburg College, now known as Pennsylvania College. Oh, sorry, now at the time known as Pennsylvania College, was turned into a front
Field
lines
hospital.
field hospital and triage for everything that you could imagine was happening there. Bullet wounds, amputations, infections, dehydration, scraped knees, all of it going to that hospital. And actually, in the Civil War was the beginning of what we would consider modern medical practices, and that you would have like a field hospital where you would send your horribly injured to be dealt with, but you would also have medical tents where soldiers could be seen for mild injuries before they were fielded again. In the context of Gettysburg, context again, soldiers were consistently being sent to the medical tents in order to be bandaged up as best they can before they were sent out to keep killing, basically, which might have been the reason why the North won that conflict. They had better medical supplies, a better supply chain when it came to passing soldiers back and forth, and just in general, a more unified front on keeping their soldiers alive. The Confederates actually discharged like 2/3 of their surgeons at the time, right before the start of the Civil War, because they wanted to ensure every surgeon helping the Confederates was capable of it. What they didn't think about was they didn't have enough surgeons capable of dealing with
to surgeon it up. Yeah,
with 100,000 soldiers.
Wait, I want to go back to the classifications of ghosts.
Yeah. So the previous one was classified as a
Intelligent
haunting. Gettysburg College has a mixture of both intelligent and residual, with students and professors claiming to have semi-intelligent reactions from ghosts, being like moving or missing objects, flickering lights, sometimes full-body apparitions, either in front of you or out of the corner of your eye.
Would a residual haunting, if I could guess, just like watching a ghost maybe like live out a moment of its life where it's almost like an echo of something, you know?
Basically, that is exactly what a residual haunting is. Also known as stone tape theory, if you guys have ever heard of this.
I've never heard of that.
It's a term used more in the paranormal circles, where the idea is that the earth itself acts as kind of like a conduit for energy, and us as humans put out that kind of like that constant like consciousness energy. And when something like the Civil War occurs, or sorry, like the Gettysburg
This
occurs.
is a terrifying setup to have the earth be a cryptid that sometimes traps our souls here. That's a fucking terrifying
Make that an
thought.
SCP, dude. Awesome.
I'm pretty sure that's sort of one.
Somebody
but
probably made
like,
it.
yeah, if in Shadow Around the Earth is like has
Technically,
like
a mana.
Yeah, it's like detectable. Yeah,
But that's what I mean. Where, well, again, in paranormal situations, when people talk about this, they are using the term energy in the way that I hate. Like pretty much every writer does
just
this.
like a nebulous, vague thing.
Where like, oh, we can kind of calculate this, whether it be the anime style sensing their power,
Their aura,
or more scientific, like pointing something at someone and hitting a button to figure out he has 50,000 metachlorians or whatever the hell, right? And in a more
I can't believe you didn't go for the Scouter level.
That's fair.
It's like the most iconic one.
Yeah. But, in stone tape theory, the idea is that these horribly traumatic events or these emotional events, whether they be positive or negative, imbue themselves in the surrounding area. So in the Civil War, let's say Jenny Wade's house was torn down. If it was a residual haunting instead of an intelligent one, the ghost, say one of her nightly routines at 1 a.m. was you would see a ghostly figure in white walking up the stairs from the first to the second floor.
You would still see
Even
that,
with the house gone, people would still see a woman in white basically floating up what would have been a set of stairs
Right.
that was there.
It's almost like the negative of a photo. Yeah, I've heard it described that way.
And the two college administrators you brought up earlier actually did share their story. Well, they said one night while they were leaving a building, they reported the elevator doors opening into the grisly scene of a Civil War era operating room, packed with the wounded and dying, yet completely eerily silent. When the elevator door closed and reopened, the scene had vanished. That sounds like the premise to like a early 2000s Wii horror game for some reason. Like, I'm a high school Japanese schoolgirl, and I opened the elevator doors, and when they opened again, I am in the other realm or whatever.
This just sounds like Silent Hill.
It's like that. Well, Japan has the elevator game, where it's quite literally that concept of like you go into an elevator, a liminal space, right, and you hit the buttons in a certain way, and you end up in the other side.
Right.
Like in this, it seems like the doors themselves were the barrier between
Haunted elevator.
Well, between them and whatever the hell it is. That was a movie?
Well, didn't M. Night Shyamalan do that scary elevator movie? The Devil?
Called Devil.
Devil.
Oh, that's why I
didn't watch it.
It's okay.
Okay.
I mean, it's not like nobody's getting in the back rooms. They're just all in the elevator.
Yeah, I hate it when I'm talking to my friends and they're like, spoiler. And I'm like, that Indiana Jones 3?
The Titanic?
Yeah.
That was a real...
Well, not even Titanic. I'm talking like
Oh
a
my
movie
God, I love
from
the
50 years
Titanic.
ago.
Yeah.
I love the Titanic.
Eddie, one
Don't
day...
spoil the ending.
Yeah, Eddie,
Do you
one
like
day...
the Titanic?
I love the Titanic story.
It's such a
Dude,
good movie.
There's a
No, I'm talking
massive...
about the movie.
Oh.
Not the real event, you sick fuck.
I love the Titanic's history, but I'm saying the movie.
You know, there's a massive
Yeah.
conspiracy with the Titanic.
Of course there is.
With the Titanic as well.
The Jewish space lasers did it.
No.
Oh.
The Titanic actually wasn't the Titanic. We won't get into it all the
It
way.
was another of the same.
It was a sister ship.
Star
Yeah.
Line.
I've never heard of this.
yeah.
The cutlery doesn't match. It doesn't make any sense.
It's got less windows.
I thought it was going to be one of those, like, it didn't hit an iceberg. It hit, like, I don't know, Cthulhu or something.
It hit Bigfoot.
Yeah, interdimensional Bigfoot is just there.
The final place we're going to talk about, just because it's...
Wait, what are the other classifications? So,
I'm sorry.
So, it's intelligent, poltergeist, residual,
orb.
which is just a little fucking orb.
Yeah, shadow
Okay.
person.
Is that different from poltergeist?
So shadow person, the shadow person phenomenon is entirely different than poltergeist.
it's a
and ghosts.
completely separate haunting classification? That's so weird.
So shadow people don't seem to interact with anything.
It's just
they
a shadow.
they just exist for some reason, and nobody really knows why.
And it's different from a residual because a residual is like somebody doing an action, whereas a
And
shadow
residual-
person is
and
just
here's-
like being a
well,
shadow.
the main difference between a lot of hauntings is what is doing the haunting. In a residual and intelligent haunting, it's a human that once was alive,
Okay.
that has then died and turned into a ghost.
Gotcha.
An orb,
just an orb.
isn't real. I fucking hate orbs. I like
I like orbs.
All fucking ghost photography is usually dog shit. Because even in 2025. I have a fucking 4K camera in my pocket, and for some reason, every time I see a ghost photo, it's always zoomed in on a square, and it's the blurriest image.
Yeah.
Orbs are worse than that, because as a photographer, you just know it's fucking dust too close to your digital lens that isn't focusing. I don't know why there are thousands of these all over the internet saying like, I caught an orb. What could this mean? It's like, you're a bad photographer. That's what it means.
Clean your fucking lens.
But then an orb, I'm not going to
okay,
qualify
so we
that.
got
Yeah.
orbs, which is just a fucking orb in
Then
a
you
photo.
have demons and poltergeists, which are usually classified.
Demon is its own classification?
Demon is its own thing, because
Okay.
a demon can exist in
I feel like that shouldn't count as a haunting. I feel like that's a fucking
curse
creature. I
But
don't know.
well, like the ethereal kind of demon.
I
like the
gotcha.
demon that it possesses somebody.
Yeah,
And then you have poltergeist, which is like demon light in a lot of ways, where they're not necessarily harmful or antagonistic. There's just something has latched onto you and is causing harm to you or your family. So a lot
It's
of
almost
times,
like a brownie.
so, I don't know what a brownie is.
Brownie's like a mythical creature that like just kind of like lives in a house and does stuff.
A little bit. Well, the poltergeist, interestingly, is often attributed to latching onto young teenage girls a lot of the time, usually with the justification being that a teenage girl entering puberty it's going to get weird, has started menstruating, and that emotional
Which summons
change,
bears and poltergeists.
well, yeah, like
that makes
unironically,
sense.
it's like the poltergeist is drawn to young women on their periods, and you're like, why are you specifically pointing that out? It's like, well, this family has 3 young girls on their periods,
And food started disappearing. And also there's a lot of screaming late at night.
Then the other classifications, I said shadow people, demons, poltergeists, orbs.
intelligent.
I think that's all of them. I might be forgetting one or something like that.
I
But,
gotta know.
But I can look it up
I
real
gotta
quick.
know.
All right, so we've got up top to bottom, residual,
Yep.
poltergeist, demonic, intelligent / interactive is another word for it. Shadow people or shadow creature activity, and this points out they are different from ghosts. They are usually shapeless, dark masses, mostly seen with your peripheral vision. And then something called a portal haunting, which I've never heard of.
What is that one?
Portals aren't really a new concept. Apparently, it's just portals, as we've seen in a lot of sci-fi flicks. But in the world
Like
of
the Cenobite shit from the Hellraiser.
where like a literal portal opens up and then demons spill through. It seems
Jesus.
like, yeah, it's speculated that portals are not limited to one location, region, or limited to sacred ground. Typically, places that experience a wide array of different types of anomalous activity, such as glowing balls of light, odd creatures, strange shapes, unexplained mists and fogs, are suspected to have a portal, which energies are traveling back and forth.
Sense.
So I think I've heard of this like in the Nevada deserts. People talk about quote unquote portal entryways. It's not like a literal like I don't see a wormhole.
Something's coming in that shouldn't be here, like mist in an area that shouldn't have mist.
And
that makes a lot more
there's
sense.
like an ethereal lifting of the veil, so to speak, where something is allowed to cross back and forth, like the Demogorgon in Stranger Things.
Gotcha.
Right? Like that, like his quote unquote portals would be what it would be like, letting the upside down into our world.
I would be incredibly fucking pissed if I died and I became an orb, and then there's some other ghost out here called an intelligent ghost. And I'm just a fucking orb. I would be so mad.
You're just like, how do I upgrade to that?
Yeah,
It's
what
like,
the fuck did I do?
I have a master's degree, and I'm just an orb.
The last location we're gonna talk about real quick actually has some ghost photography about it. I didn't save it on here just because it's dog shit. But the name is the name.
I like that you undersold your next premise immediately.
The next thing I got is totally
it's so fucking
bullshit.
stupid. I didn't even bother writing it down. Anyway,
I like the story of this place. It's just all of the actual evidence does not back it up whatsoever.
That hasn't
Can we
stopped
just
you
pause for a split second? When has there ever been any evidence that's been better than the dog shit? I can't even fathom how bad this evidence is, considering the Dover Demon was written on the back of a fucking school napkin.
I was gonna say, how dare you sit here after telling us the fucking Centralia story about the candy wrapper in the graveyard, and you're gonna tell us this is worse than that?
Guys, that evidence was airtight. That shit would have fucking sent them away to
Never
life.
ever would a teenager lie about what they saw in the woods that night.
I hate that when I listen to other paranormal podcasts, the hosts have the memories of goldfish. They can barely remember what they talked about last week, let alone make jokes about the bad episode of Our Haunted Nostalgia we shot 6 months ago in fucking November.
Hey, you guys remember that amazing evidence that Elias was able to conjure about literally any of these fucking cryptids? Because I don't.
Listen, I'm trying my hardest, okay?
It's not your fault.
It's not
shit
you.
evidence.
It's the fact that these are the product of charlatans and idiots.
Yeah.
The Devil's Den, as the name implies, is notorious. Partly because of the ghosts, partly because of what happened during the Civil War. This, as Adam pointed out, was the start of sniper warfare. And snipers' nests were relatively common, with snipers being perched up with sometimes 2 or 3 people supporting them, considering rifles could now shoot more than the end of this table. And the Devil's Den was used as a primary sniper's nest because it had an advantageous position in the center of the battlefield of Gettysburg. So Confederates set up first, and then Unions immediately started throwing bodies at the fucking wall in order to try to take it. And the area was taken back and forth multiple times over the course of the 3 days, leading to 2,000 deaths in this one area alone. The area itself, honestly, Eddy, Adam, we would probably go hiking there. It's like a beautiful trail, large boulders, really picturesque views. According to somebody named M.B. Henry in their blog, they point out that during the battle at Devil's Den, the rocks, according to many witnesses, wound up splashed red with blood, covered in blackened, swollen corpses. More bodies piled up on the gaping cracks and gorges below. All of the fields in and around Gettysburg became hollowed ground, but death reaped an especially bad harvest at the Devil's Den. So, picturesque rocks, beautiful scene. Imagine it covered in blood instead.
You know what's really surprising about that? Something so visceral, so awful. They don't have any evidence. Because that seems like it would be one.
Oh, I think they have evidence of a bunch of people dying there. I don't think they have evidence of...
Oh, I'm sorry. I misunderstood. I thought you meant that, I thought you said we were hiking today to this thing, and all of a sudden...
No, he said we could hike there.
Yeah.
Completely separate story.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you
said
meant there was a
this.
phantasm,
No.
a pastiche of death.
He went there. Yeah, this blogger went there and just saw the Civil
death.
War.
Yeah.
No, this is during the Civil War is the bodies.
Okay,
blood.
I understand that now. I thought you meant more like it's looking through a kaleidoscope and you just slip through and all of a sudden you're like, holy fuck.
I walked through a portal.
I went walking one day and then there was just blood everywhere.
Blood everywhere.
That's another horrifying story. You
would
take
be
a
scary.
walk and
It's like
step
the beaches
into
at Gettysburg.
Step into 1863. The Devil's Den, based on its hauntings, is the epitome of what you would call the haunted location, with a plethora of reports from dim spectral.
So this is the Gettysburg within Gettysburg.
This is the way I pointed out. It's like the Salem, Massachusetts of Gettysburg.
I'm lost.
So
What-
this is the Dover Demon. This is the Dover Demon of Centralia's.
This is like if I went hitchhiking and then I got in a car and Bigfoot was driving, but he had also picked up the squonk earlier.
and you were wearing entirely
Ski
ski
gear.
gear, but then you wound up in
California.
the West
In
Coast.
California.
Yeah, and nobody knew how.
Area 51.
I'm gonna tell you guys some of the most horrifying stuff that happened at the Devil's Den. Okay. Tourists often claim that when they arrive at the Devil's Den to take photography, their camera batteries.
Don't tell me there's any fucking orbs.
Their camera batteries run out
I'm gonna lose my shit if I
minutes.
see an
Are
orb.
you fucking kidding me?
Minutes.
In minutes.
minutes, dude.
Are we talking lithium-ion batteries?
I'm talking.
Duracell even?
I'm talking 2025 iPhone batteries.
Jesus Christ.
Wow. Oh my God, are we there right now?
Yeah. Like,
I'm at 3%. What the
Holy
fuck's going on?
fuck. I think there's a ghost in the room.
Another.
take a picture.
Well, no, you can't take a picture with digital photography.
Oh, does it have to be? Is
It has to
is
be
that
filmed.
the thing?
It has to be filmed.
Oh, I never heard that.
Digital photography, it doesn't pick up the same, because digital photography is just a bunch of fake ones and zeros. Film is a chemical process. It's a real process.
Because our cell phone cameras is us just tricking rocks into thinking with electricity, whereas analog, it's where the magic happens.
that shit's connected to the earth. You know where you get film? I don't know, but it's probably not
in
from
the
cobalt.
film mines.
Another story that comes from the Devil's Den is a raggedly dressed man wearing a floppy hat who speaks a few words before vanishing as he points in the distance for guests to
Okay,
watch.
so homeless man.
I was gonna say I do that
Yeah.
in my free time.
Hey, you sure? The pictures are better up over the hill. All right,
And then
bye.
I wait till they turn around and I hide behind the trash can.
Also, there are plenty of pictures captured of orbs and mist.
Wait a second. Mist on a giant field.
On a rainy day, it does rain a lot.
It's a the portals.
You know, they call
the
Gettysburg-
portals are letting in the mist, dude.
They call Gettysburg Little UK
because of how rainy
because of
it
its
is.
misty manse.
You know the Mist, the movie, based off of
I like that.
Gettysburg.
Did you ever see the movie Remember the Titans?
No.
Based off of
Yes,
Gettysburg.
in school.
I want you to remember.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna assume.
There's an amazing scene in Gettysburg because the training camp they did was at Gettysburg College, and they go and look out on a field at a beautiful misty morning, and Denzel Washington gives a rousing speech, which is consistently interrupted by the droves of
Orbs.
The camera,
They couldn't get it. They
the
couldn't shoot
director
on
of
location.
photography almost quit on the spot because they just could not get a fucking shot. There were more black orbs, white orbs, portal orbs.
Portal orbs.
There's fucking.
What is a portal orb?
It was an orbapalooza, if you might, if I might say so.
The traditional Burning Man of orbs.
Yeah, that was known as the Burning Man of Orb. It was a smorgasbord orb.
Oh,
If you might, yeah,
You could a smorgasbord of orbs.
smorgasbord.
yeah. I'll tell you what. If a ghost is gonna kill any of us, it's probably gonna be Eddy, because Eddy talks a lot of shit.
Eddie's gonna open up a sandwich shop, that a ghost-themed sandwich shop, and call it the Smorgasbord.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, how about we dive into some theories about what could be going on?
About the mist? Sure.
About ghosts, dude.
Yeah.
All right, so here's the first theory for what's going on in Gettysburg, okay? Ghosts are real and are struggling to pierce the veil.
It's a little presumptuous, but okay.
Getting proper evidence of their existence becoming a challenge because of it.
Okay, so I accept all that as objective facts. So where was the claim?
Is that the end of the first claim?
That's the end of the first claim. That's the theory.
Oh,
So
wow.
the reason why they're getting harder to see is because the veil is unlifting, as the curtains have closed.
The membrane is thickening.
Listen, I'm
the
telling you,
earth.
we're becoming less religious as a society, and I think that's affecting our ghosts.
It's actually becoming more depending on the demographic.
That's
but
fair.
yeah.
That's
I'll
why.
tell you what, God forbid a ghost can do anything in this country.
That's why ghosts are on the rise in the South. Believe it or not.
Ghosts are on the rise in the South?
That's what they meant when they said the South will rise again. They were actually talking about
But
the
the ghosts.
poltergeist
Well,
Bunch
the-
of
experience.
all those-
racist ass fucking great grandparents came up. Great. Excited to meet them.
All those Confederate ghosts are really going to rise up to save us against the aliens.
It's gonna be like the end of Return of the King with the Air Force Ghost Army.
I want a president in 2040.
Not these ones.
I want a president in 2045 to walk into a fucking mountain and go, "Fulfill your oath! Protect the country!" And then the Confederacy finally joins the Union again.
All the Confederate ghosts come rushing out of Mount Rushmore. And they're like, it was about states' rights.
God damn!
Yeah, fuck the kid.
Okay, so that's theory one, is that the veil is unlifting.
Okay, theory 2. Gettysburg holds a
I'd
significant...
be pissed if I was a ghost and the veil was
unlifting? You're like, all this time and I'm not getting my chance? Again,
Yeah,
decanter
that's
skills.
fucked.
Gettysburg holds theory 2. Gettysburg holds a significantly important place culturally and historically, and its primary claim to fame is the sheer amount of bloodshed and death that befell it, so now it's hallowed grounds.
Is that how hallowed? I thought hallowed had to be like, I thought it's like a consecration deal.
I thought hallowed just meant like a shit
Special?
ton of death occurred here, like a cemetery, or I'm gonna Google what hallowed means.
HALLOW?
Yeah.
Hallowed
is
grounds,
like-
it should be consecrated.
yeah, I thought hallowed is like a special like significance.
That should
Maybe I failed.
Hallowed grounds definition.
Did you guys hear about that new coffee shop that
Hallowed,
the Vatican started out?
hallowed ground.
Hallowed grounds. Fucking rad.
Get a little bit of the Pope in your morning coffee.
Dude.
A place, or it's holy water. That's what they use for it.
Yeah, that would be sick.
A place that is, or area that is consecrated, holy or revered, often due to religious, historical, or cultural significance.
Yeah, it doesn't always mean there's a lot of dead people there. I
Well,
guess,
I mean,
I would
cultural-
assume a church's cemetery would be hallowed not because of the dead people, but because it's a church's cemetery.
Well, and in this context, and in this
situation,
it's hallowed because of the cultural and historical
right.
significance.
But wait, so what was their conclusion then? Because it's hallowed ground
Basically, this is a general
theory.
debunking most
Right.
ghosts. It's like humans tend to be sensitive to suggestion in general.
Sure.
Like, look at the placebo effect.
Right.
And being in a location where you know something horrible has happened.
And where you've heard is the most haunted place on earth. Yeah.
So
Is it known as that?
Yeah.
I mean,
It's like,
maybe
again, we
I
listen-
would say it is the most haunted place in America.
Oh,
that
100%,
that
yeah.
claim is made a lot.
Wow.
I'd say
okay.
that the Winchester House is usually up there.
Really?
Eastern State up there
Oh
too.
yeah, State Pen.
But just being at that location, knowing everything we know about Gettysburg, and then just being, let's say, on a ghost tour where
Right.
somebody says, "Yes," and
It's cold.
This
Yeah.
is where the Gettysburg College held their pierced lung unit, where soldiers struggled to breathe in their last moments, and then you go, "Oh, I'm starting to feel a heaviness in my chest. I think the ghosts are starting to affect."
That's probably, you know what? That's probably from the rise of the empaths that are plaguing this country. You haven't heard about this phenomenon?
Everybody's too fucking emotional now.
Well, no, people claiming they're an empath, which is different from somebody who's empathetic.
Oh,
Which is,
so an empath is like, I can sense.
it's like a superpower level of
Like
empathy. So like if
telepathy?
you started crying, I would just naturally like just also start crying because I feel your
now,
emotions.
You're saying this as though it is.
Fact.
Yeah, is it a real like?
Oh, it's a
like
claim that
people are saying
make.
they are. They're like,
Yeah,
oh, I'm a psychic.
I'm not making this up. There's people that, yeah, like if you look up like what is an empath, it's different from an empathetic person. I was making a joke about how like empaths are going on ghost tours because the community is it's probably a fucking, the Venn diagram's a circle.
It's probably the same. Well, it's the same people who like, and I don't mean to poke fun at like what you like, but like the same people who go to like rock shops or like, you know. I say
When you-
like
crystal
Sorry,
shops.
crystal shops, not
Yeah.
rocks. That's my brain. I call them rocks. You know, but people who go like crystal shops and do that, they're probably also like into astrology.
Elias is saying this as I'm actively massaging my temple with a piece of jade. And I feel targeted.
Well, that's because he could sense the negative aura.
Yeah, I need to cleanse.
He thought you had a buildup of orbs in there. So he's
Dude.
just trying to.
Yeah.
It's also my JO crystal. I think it has the exact same cleansing properties. That's why I'm using it right now. Actually, here, hold. Eddie, could you hold my Civil War era musket as well?
Thank you for your musket.
Don't
Wow,
point that at
the new-
yourself, dude.
Point
What the
yourself a bit.
what are you talking about? Don't point it at yourself.
The new ammunition is particularly easy to load.
It's also lead, so stop licking it, please.
I'm surprised it only
This
weighs.
isn't rock
How much does this thing weigh? A
The
pound?
musket, 8.5 pounds.
Are you sure? I use the metric system.
4 kilograms.
As the Civil War soldiers famously used the metric system.
What's this
why they
pointy
were
stick
terrible.
at the end of my rifle called?
Bayonet. I think.
Correct.
Yeah.
You've passed the test.
Fun fact: bayonets mostly used to cut coffee grounds and meat.
Ah.
They only resulted in about 54 deaths over the entirety of the Civil
It's
War.
always funny when
That
guns
is
are,
fucking horse manure.
I know.
I have a breakdown.
I know the Israeli Galil is used. They have a specific feature on the gun as a bottle opener, or like the.
That's kinda cool.
Yeah, well, because the previous version of it, the soldiers were bending the
doing
shit
it
out of
anyway.
shape. So they're like, well, let's
Fuck
just make
it.
the one to have an actual.
See,
bottle
that's
opener, or
putting
the,
that's putting humans first.
right
With design.
It's like a path of convenience type of thing, because like the Russian PPSH is also like super multi-purpose for like digging a hole and like cooking breakfast on and like all this crazy shit.
I like the idea of like go dig latrine duty and you just pick up your gun. Fucking hate the stupid place.
Start
digging with
stabbing the ground.
I mean, these people were using their guns as tent poles, so
Yeah, I mean that's kind of the point. Yeah, that makes sense.
But like, so it's not too far fetched to imagine anybody visiting this place, much like young Adam might have during his time period, his visits to
My time in Gettysburg.
Your time in Gettysburg with your mother and all of those ghost or Civil War.
Yeah, it wasn't a ghost
I want ghost reenactments now. I
That'd be
want
cool.
that.
That would
I
be
would
cool.
go to those if they existed.
The reenactment was kind of fun. I mean, completely separate from ghosts. Like, it's all
100%,
volunteers. You would usually buy like tickets. We would visit usually 2, sometimes all 3 days. It would be a 3-day event. Obviously, cap guns were everywhere, which we would buy tons of.
That actually sounds really fun as a kid.
And like, because it's all volunteer, it depends on which year you would go. Like, if it's like a special like 100-year anniversary, 150, whatever.
like the old heads come out of retirement.
Well, they get like more people. I do remember one year it was so hot, a bunch of the actors started having heat stroke. Which
That
is
sounds
bad.
about right. That happens a lot.
Then they would become a ghost, ironically. But
Actually, it's not traumatic enough. I don't think they would become ghosts. I think they just go to hell, like everybody else.
like all reenactors do, as they deserve.
all cosplay.
Are reenactors just nerdy,
yeah.
like history nerd
Yeah, they're just
cosplayers?
same with
I guess,
fucking
yeah.
same with fucking football fans.
Is it just LARPing for people with too much interest in history?
Yeah, it's LARPing
is
for
LARP- it
it's
is
LARPing
kinda
for
LARP.
conservatives is what it is. is what reenactments are.
Makes a lot of sense. I could probably get my grandpa into D&D.
with LARPing
With
as
that-
a
with that would be the bridge.
You're what's it? It's like a
The
gateway
generational
drug.
gap.
It's a gateway.
Oh, the
drug.
gateway drug. I was
LARPing.
just saying that's how I reach him. Well, now I would need a Ouija board to reach him, but
That got.
I can't believe we haven't talked
Yeah.
about Ouija boards.
Well, that's because Ouija boards were invented in the 1950s by a charlatan who just wanted to sell a toy.
and they were
God,
accidentally.
that's where we draw the
correct.
line. That's
That's fucked up.
That piece of shit was a charlatan, but all these other people, they're just giving an honest to goodness account.
What if it would be even? I really like the idea if we were like proven beyond a shadow of a doubt
That
that Ouija
ghosts
that
exist.
Ouija boards are real, and a charlatan accidentally made the
I'm
tool.
gonna be honest with you. You would get me more excited and more belief
For a Ouija board
about
episode.
a fucking Ouija board than you would honestly about 90% of the shit we talk about here.
That's true. It's probably an easier sell. Yeah.
That is a crazy take. Like, oh, that's bullshit.
The Dover demon, however, have you seen the napkin?
Did you hear about this?
You looked at the napkin,
Yeah.
right?
Did you see the sniper's nest in Gettysburg?
Have you heard about the squonk?
Yeah. Riddled with corpses even to this day.
My favorite part is in the same season we cover the squonk. I'm also going to cover fucking Ouija boards. And the
goofier side
the
of-
evil monkey from the Conjuring family.
Well,
or
there's
whatever
the
fuck.
monkey movie that just came out.
That was just based off of the monkey. We made a joke about that in the Conjuring episode. In the
we?
Yeah, because they had the monkey in there in the Conjuring movie, and I joked like,
oh right.
and I joked like, hey, don't touch the monkey. And you
Yeah.
said that's how they get an in. That monkey is the next Conjuring movie.
And then they made a fucking
3
movie
weeks
about
later,
it.
that
Holy shit.
commercial
I might be
dropped.
psychic.
Dude, I'm saying our Haunted Nostalgia HQ, all those mediums we keep trapped in the basement are doing
To predict the
work.
next thing we
They're
should
doing
talk
work
about.
for us, dude.
The only work that I've been waiting on is my shiatsu, which, again, it's been at least 30 minutes at this point. At least.
I thought a shiatsu's a dog.
That's a Shih Tzu.
Shih Tzu.
What's
I'm
a
talking about a
what's a
high
shiatsu?
impact massage, deep tissue.
Oh.
Also, I want you both to know
High
that
impact. They just elbow drop your back.
Chuck Liddell gives the best shiatsu massages.
I want you guys to know that your W-2 forms are going to be coming out for working here.
How do we file under psychic tax breaks?
O.H.N. HQ. Also, I need help filling them all out for the medians because I technically didn't register them as employees.
Well, I think we could probably write off all the ginseng cleanses that we've been doing.
And all the jade.
And all the
Jade stones.
as business expenses.
I've been everything.
Will I get reimbursed for all the miles that I drove
Do we
to
have
Centralia?
do we get a tax break for hiring ghosts? Are they?
Yeah, we're hiring ghosts. We're hiring ghosts, so there should be some tax
Some
incentive.
sort of, yeah.
So I just want everybody to know in the Our Haunted Nostalgia community, we are hiring, and if you want, you can go to our LinkedIn profile in order to see for.
You need
Well,
at
I'll tell you
least-
what, this position, my current role, has been a revolving door since the start.
So replaceable. You need at least 150 years of haunting experience, though, minimum.
And
It is entry level.
and that has to be cumulative across all of your
all
reincarnations.
All your life.
So
All alternate
Yeah.
universes
We-
do count.
we will be doing background checks with Bathsheba and Ra.
Now, we do also take into account time dilation if you
You were
travel through
abducted.
a
wormhole.
interdimensional Yeti portal and ended up in the past and or future.
Dude, I'll tell you what, this would be a really easy job interview. Be like, you seem to have a 13-year gap in your job history. Be like, 411. What the fuck do you think? you read about this shit. I fucking live it.
Bigfoot fucking grabbed me. That's why I wasn't in this dimension, dude.
Oh, since the 411, we're way off of Gettysburg now, but real quick.
No, we're wrapping up anyway.
Okay. I did see that there is a Pennsylvania Bigfoot convention.
Do we go?
I would go.
Adam-
But it was Andrew Callahan of
Eddie looked at me like, "Yeah, we're going."
you know
Are you even
the-
questioning this?
You know the all gas no brakes guy, Andrew Callahan?
Yeah.
He did I watched the first minute of one of his videos, but he interviewed. The video opens with a guy claiming he lives with. So I don't know what is the plural. Bigfoots,
Bigfoots.
big feet.
Bigfoots is the plural, yeah.
He claims that he lives with them, and you have to respect them and understand them, and he the dude's up playing at 100%.
Straight.
And as all
Yeah.
gas no brakes does, he's just letting him talk. It was very interesting, but there is a real Bigfoot enthusiast meeting.
So for
it's
this,
an outdoor event, of course.
So for this podcast, I think I'd avoid talking about Bigfoot as a whole, just because there's quite literally
A trillion billion of them.
stories and sightings and stuff. I would probably pick a story to focus on. There are two that come to the top of my head that I want to know which one you guys prefer. Do you want the story of the man who punched Bigfoot,
That sounds rad.
or the story of the man who was abducted by a Bigfoot family?
Would that be animal abuse if you punched a Bigfoot?
Do you consider Bigfoot a person?
I don't know.
Would it be a crime if you punched Bigfoot? Does it count as a sentient being?
Is it just? I don't know.
Can it feel? I feel like at one point does it stop being
The question you should be asking is it a crime to hit Bigfoot? It's how do you think Bigfoot would react? And can it feel pain?
Adam and I have been wearing Eddie down during this entire.
I know you hate when I get on my Bigfoot tangents. I just think it's really fun.
I fucking love Bigfoot.
I love
It's
Bigfoot
such a-
theories. I like
our second or third. It's our third episode.
Ends whenever
Trevor-
Eddie gets tired of really hearing about my Bigfoot jokes.
I think I would be really down to do a Our Haunted Nostalgia episode
Labyrinth
that's
watch.
about cryptids in movies, and we could do
that
that.
would be a good
Well,
one.
not
Yeah.
fun fact. One of the things that I do like is with the resurgence. We've talked about this of horror
Yeah.
as of the last decade.
I mean,
or
it's
so.
finally gotten some fucking Oscar noms. That's a huge deal.
Not only has it gotten Oscar nominations, they're moving past just generic ghost haunting. Like if you go to Hulu or Tubi, there are thousands of just Conjuring knockoffs and stuff like that. But what I was saying is I like that horror movies are leaning more into cultural horror.
Yeah.
4 or 5 years ago, there was a La Llorona or La Llorona movie, which is a Mexican ghost haunt. It's like a woman, the classic woman haunting children ghost, right? It got a multi-million-dollar movie made based off of it.
Cool.
That's great.
I'd love to know more about Filipino cryptids because those things are fucking freaks.
On the list
They're
of
creepy.
Folklore cryptids I want to talk about. I want to talk about Hawaiian cryptids. Those are shockingly interesting.
I've never
Colombian cryptids. Vietnam has some wild cryptids.
We tried to do a vampire psyop there during the Vietnam War. we would the CIA would like take a soldier from a patrol and then they'd put like puncture marks in their neck and they'd hang them from a tree to try to scare the locals into thinking there was like a vampire in the forest.
Okay.
That's a real story.
Now that is a
a real thing.
Vietnamese soldier that they did that to, right? They're not just killing American soldiers.
No, yeah, it would be to a fucking enemy of war. They wouldn't just
that.
like kill our own soldiers for that.
One of the things that they did alongside that, the American military, I mean, is the Vietnamese are particularly superstitious about ghosts.
Yeah.
So what they did is they'd have, unironically, like Eddy, Adam, Elias, if we were like a scout troop, they would give us a speaker and be like,
broadcast,
we want you to go 20
stuff.
miles that way.
Yeah.
There's a Korean Vietnamese village. Set this up in a tree that nobody will find, and we're just gonna play these sounds over the all 8 hours of the night to freak people out. And it demoralized so many Vietnamese communities.
That's fucked up.
I mean,
it's kind of funny.
But it's crazy that's
to
how
just
they
haunt
did
your
it.
enemy to scare them. That'd be funny.
But I'm more than happy to explore them. We're dealing with the Northeast right now because it has a particular connection to all of us. But moving forward with our haunted nostalgia, as we expand a little bit more, I'm more than happy to cover folklore.
The brownie I talked about earlier, I'm pretty sure is Russian. They're like, brownie is like a little, like very tiny gnome thing that moves into your house, and you're supposed to like treat it well, and it'll, clean for you and stuff like that. And if it's mean, it's like the things from Shadowrun that just like eat rust and shit like that.
Well, unlike the brownie.
The Shadim. How could I fucking forget?
We can
the
talk
Shadim's
about
a real.
that. Yeah,
it's not
I
from
forgot.
Shadowrun.
Yeah,
it's a real.
it's a
real. It's a outside the.
Well, it's a mythological creature.
Yeah,
it's the same like when we talk about like, oh, Zeus is real. Yeah, Zeus exists as a concept.
The talking about Zeus was a thing before, I don't know, Age of mythology.
But unlike the brownie, these Civil War ghosts are not as friendly. No. But I'm glad that we at least got
I feel
to
like some of them
this.
would be.
There's
got to be like
if Jenny Wade is mad, just like a random.
Well, Jenny Wade should be mad. She got fucking shot for no reason.
That's fair. Well, I mean, all of them were shot for no reason, technically. They shouldn't have been fighting.
For states' rights.
You're right.
Is the reason.
I forgot we grew up in Idaho, where we learned that's exactly what the Civil War was about.
Yeah. Did I ever tell you about the? It's a side topic, but we can get into it. Shadowrun had a. Really bad Auschwitz run. I'll blow through it super quick, and you can place this anywhere in the podcast. Probably not the beginning.
Definitely not
You
the
should
beginning.
maybe make a clip out of it for people who care about Shadowrun. But so in 4th edition, they wrote a supplement where the team could do a run to Auschwitz. It wasn't even like an allegory, like concentration. It was straight up the Shadowrunner team was contracted to go to Auschwitz. Which was mega haunted. Because I don't know, because the writers were fucking stupid.
Because it was 2007 and edgy.
Well, no, 4th edition was also just notoriously bad. The lore was. So much so that the Germans had to fix it, ironically. But so they had to go to Auschwitz to get like a super killer knife that I think was implied, if not outright stated, to be like Dr. Mengele's like, Jew torture knife.
It's the scalpel.
And but not only that, they continued to get worse because while you're there,
you meet the ghost of Anne Frank.
Oh, is that it?
No, I don't know.
No, you're close. It's even worse. You're getting attacked by ghosts while there who are all, dead Jews.
Of course.
Why would they be malevolent to get
Well, because they're like, it's
angry.
one of those like, they can't really, they're not sentient. They're just like angry emotions left behind type of thing. Right. So you go to Auschwitz to kill the ghosts of dead Jews to get a Nazi doctor's scalpel.
I hope everybody, our guests and listeners included, got a little bit of something out of this, whether it be some fun facts about the Civil War or all of the strange stories to come out of Gettysburg since the bloodshed of Gettysburg. If you like this episode, make sure you like us, just like always. Subscribe, follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Leave a 5-star rating, and make sure to tune in every time at the start of the month.
Next week, when we talk about the squonk.
We'll not be talking about the
And it won't
squonk.
be next week, I know.
But I would love to at some point. We'll have to figure out when we want to squeeze
You
it
usually
in.
give us a hint of what's next. What do you got? What do you got on your block?
usually. Okay, here, let me get it up. Let me rephrase that.
It rhymes with lonk.
It rhymes with Schmigfoot. Interdimensional Schmigfoot.
Schminterdimensional Schmigfoot.
Oh, here's a fun one. We teased the Bermuda Triangle earlier today.
We didn't tease. We talked about it.
So we teased next week's episode inadvertently because
Is it Bermuda?
it is not Bermuda.
Thank God.
But there are, unironically, like a dozen other haunted triangles around the entirety of the Earth. And we're going to be dealing with
The most nefarious shape. You know why?
100%, the Holy Trinity.
It's related to the devil. Oh no, I was gonna say, isn't there something about like the angles add up to like 6? I don't know.
Fuck if I know.
Some-
But yeah,
Anyway, why are there so many evil triangles?
No, I'm not sure. It's probably just the easiest geometric shape to draw on a
ghosts to
map.
draw? Yeah.
No, just to be like,
Oh.
yep, that's haunted.
I would have thought it would have been orbs. Orbs
Or
are
a
the
circle.
most-
Yeah. No, sorry. So this is a triangle hidden deep within the Northeast, where cults have actually been known to sacrifice victims. Yeah, unironically,
Is
actual
this-
crimes.
Okay, so we have like real like
Actual crimes
police
happening.
reports to talk about.
But no, yeah, join us next week when we dive into one of the many haunted triangles. Let's hope this one actually has some evidence.